Hi, so consider this a voice reveal because I absolutely hate doing captions nowadays. It makes me just way too long to sit here for like 11 plus minutes and try to type something. So hopefully YouTube can do auto-generated captions, the best that it can catch my voice. Otherwise I can see if I can generate some myself. But I decided to do Bonbon on Red Church for this match just because I haven't played Bonbon in a while. I know I say that, but in general I have not recorded in a while, so it just made sense to me. Decided to go for Entomologist here because she was the first one I saw. Figured she'd be a pretty easy chase. Pretty good bomb chip right there. I'm usually not that good at this, so I'm quite happy about that. Over here, I was trying to get another chip on her, but then I realized that it was probably just better to go hit her, so I went through the pallet and I just gave a quick smack. And this whole time, I did not realize that there was somebody right there decoding, so I was like, shit, there was literally someone right there the whole time. In hindsight, it didn't really affect the Cypher progress that much, because I brought a Entomologist over there, but it still would have been good for me to go check and just acknowledge that somebody was over there. Sometimes I don't use sound cues to my best ability, which I should be doing. And so, fun fact, for half of this match, at least in the beginning, I forgot that the chair ability exists for Bonbon. It's honestly quite the forgettable kind of ability, just because of how long it takes. Personally, I think 30 seconds is way too long for this chair timer to work, but in this case, it actually did benefit me a good bit. I decided to do a trick I sometimes do, where I put down a bomb timer to make it look like it's a remote-controlled bomb, and now finally I start using the ability. And so this trick does sort of work, because Cheerleader gets fooled into thinking this is a remote-controlled bomb. She kept running around it just to see if I would bait myself. Very good flag roll right there from her. Don't know why she didn't rescue, she kind of stalled a bit. I was standing over here just trying to get a hit on her. I did end up hitting the chair at one point. I tried to hit her and she pallet stunned me, which was really a bad choice because as soon as she did, she missed the rescue because of that timer. So, thank you, bomb timer, I suppose. That actually worked. Now on to the chase to go grab her. This took me a little bit longer than I would have liked it to, just because of how bad I am with bombs. Like, honestly, it should be illegal to be this ass at it. But regardless, I do eventually go get her. I am not very good at the pathing here. Eventually, she slows down, gets over here, and I hit her with a remote control bomb. Very slay. Now that I realize that I still have this bomb chair ability, or whatever we want to call it, I don't know, this timer, I took her over to the nearest chair that I could, and I immediately started overlaying those bombs on her. I was keeping an eye out just to see if anybody was nearby. I was assuming that it was going to be Postman this time, or somebody closer to this chair that was going to walk over. Hit a little emote on her, because, you know I gotta. And so I realized that somebody was coming, and I thought they were coming this way, so I walked back. In hindsight, again, I could have probably just placed a couple bombs, maybe scared her off a little bit, or changed her routing. And this time I did the bomb timer a little bit too long, and I think Entomologist saw it and didn't get fooled. However, I do just bomb spam regardless, just to try to get a hit in on her, which unfortunately does not work. That almost could have worked on that timer if I had waited on her chair a little bit longer instead of hitting. However, at least both of them are damaged, so I can't complain too much. Around here is when they start body blocking a bit more and being a little bit defensive, and me thinking that the Cypher was decoded a little bit more, I was playing very safe here. Very good bomb right there. Which, again, is kind of a bad idea to be playing a little bit too safe, because now looking at the side of this progress, they weren't even that close to popping yet. I had lots of time, and this was just kind of stalling and letting them decode a little bit more, which in the future I should not be making that mistake again. They are able to stall a bit more just because of this body blocking, and I kind of lost the pathing a little bit at some point because I was getting confused. I'm honestly not sure why Cheerleader was giving her ability to Entomologist and not herself, because she probably could have benefited from this dash a lot more, like right there. And like, she does benefit from it at least, but that was a really good bomb connect right there. I didn't even realize Entomologist was behind me, and I placed those two bombs just to be safe if they pop. So now that Cheerleader is out of the picture, I kind of knew that this was already going to be a win since they haven't popped yet, and I had Entomologist here. Postman is not the strongest rescuer, but recently with his stun ability that he got, he's been a lot better, so I try to be very cautious around him. kind of goofed around here and I wasn't walking properly, so I kept getting stuck behind walls and all that shit. But eventually I do finally chair her and I start loading on bombs again. The way that I just kept going, even though Postman was literally right there, like, I did not even register that he was there. But thankfully, very fast hit, and I was being cautious again because of the stun. I didn't want to lose my balloon. Missed the remote bomb, but that's okay. I decided not to pick her up yet, just to be safe, make him maybe waste a stun or very good chip hit. I was certain that he wasn't going to be able to do too much. However, I did want to try to down him before then, but I wasn't about to waste too much time. I didn't want her to heal. So I picked up Entomology just before she could, put her on the chair. Again, being careful, but now I put her on the chair. And because I didn't want her dying too fast, but I wanted it to be a little bit quicker to put her on the pressure, just make sure he wouldn't rescue, I put 2 bombs on the chair. And here was where I made my big mistake, where I did not realize which cipher he was decoding, and I ended up walking the wrong way. And because of that hesitance, I ended up checking the gate for a little bit too long, and that allowed him to get to the dungeon faster than I could, so that's why this match wasn't a 4K. Spoiler alert. I spent a little bit too long lingering over here, and so I wasn't walking fast enough to get over there. I have to admit that he did a really good dog stun over here to get me to miss my hit. That was a decent blink. I probably could have hit him, but I wasted too much time. Good game, Postman. After a long-ass time of editing, but still a shorter time than writing captions, I finally on to part 2, onto the Percy match. This is in reference for a friend since I did Bonbon first, so if you know, you know. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend on Instagram, Fossil. I will include his account in the description and also on screen in a few seconds. Take a look and go follow him. He's the one that did all of the art for all of my talk sprites. Thank you so much, Fossil. I was going to use them initially for an Instagram account, but because that didn't end up working out, I decided to put these sprites to good use. So starting off this match, I decided to go with Barmaid first, since Barmaid is the biggest pain in the ass for these kind of matches, especially because of how fast she heals. She also gets a bit of a movement speed, as you can see here, which I do not love when she does that, but it happens, so oh well. My first chase here was not the best, but we're getting there, we're getting somewhere. I kind of just tried to bait her around, and here comes the leg spike. Gotta love when that happens. But once the leg spike is over, I try to bait her around the pallets. Maybe she's trying to bait me, we'll see what happens. I eventually do get a good hit here with my energy. I decide to walk around the pallet instead of breaking it, just because that's a little bit easier for me. I try to conserve some energy, but also make sure that I'm not going to overload immediately. I do go for the jump there, and I get a great hit. I'm super happy with that. I typically have to practice that very frequently because I'm not too good at that. I decide to pull out a warp, and honestly, I do consider trying to change this trait, which I don't end up pulling the warp out, I forgot. But I don't use warp very frequently, and I was considering changing it. Here's my dumbass move of opening a locker. Don't know why I did that. I really don't know why I thought somebody would be in there. I see to my tinnitus goes off, so I figure something's nearby. Decided to go chase after this toy merchant. Because first I saw Perfumer, but then I saw Toy Merchant. I was like, yeah, easy hit. Not so easy though, because I did have to do a little bit of work to go hit her, but I eventually did. Now I should pull out the warp, and I go to find Barmaid, since she's getting very close to the roller coaster, and I do not want to get away. So as I'm chasing her on the roller coaster, on the way there, I try to hit her behind these pallets first, and because I'm not good enough to get her there, she ends up getting over the pallet. So this is a little race against time, where I do get the Terror Shock very well. And I decide to stay around the area best I can, because I don't want her to completely heal while I'm gone. But at the same time, I know that somebody is here, or at least they're going to be nearby, because I can see with Wanted Order that they are trying to heal over there, and I don't want that to happen. So I try my best to go stop it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to stop it, but I do go after Toy Merchant again just because she was already injured. She's a much easier target for me here just because of the space that I have. Now, if I allowed her to get out of this window, she would have flew away, which I didn't want, so I used my charge attack. I'm glad when this actually works, because people try to counter this all the time with Flywheel. So now I have 2 people down, but I realize that Barmaid is going to get up soon. So I vault through the window to try to get over there and close off some movement options for other people. I wasn't sure if she self-healed or if somebody came to heal her. In this case, I assumed that somebody was here to heal, so I decided to go with the charge attack in a few minutes. There we go. I'm actually super glad I did this, and it was very successful because I hit 2 people. It kills Barmaid, and I'm able to get Perfumer, and that is always a good move because Perfumer is also a pain in the ass with Percy. So I figured just leave Toy Merchant for now and just go get Perfumer because this is a very good opportunity. Very good jump hit right there. Love Jump Chop when it actually works. And what I mean by that is when I'm actually good at doing it. Off again to go look for Toy Merchant. I realize we're on 1 Slifer, so I kind of have to really hurry up here. I realize she's up here on the roller coaster, so this is where I pull out another Jump Chop after the stretch attack because I didn't have enough energy. Very good Jump Chop. Then Composer pops. Both of them get up, so I realize I have to really fucking move here. Very good Toy Merchant down. I decide to warp here to get to Perfumer. Please mind my vocal mistakes, by the way. This is my first time, and I'm just doing 1 take, so I apologize if I make mistakes. Small leg spike. Trying to get a good hit on her here. I finally do. And I kind of realized in this case that I'm not going to reach Composer in time, but I still want to give it a shot anyways. So I take my warp to try to get closer to that gate. I shrink down some of my energy so that I don't need the overload. A couple dashes, best I can get there. I realize that Perfumer is not going to heal in time, so I'm not too worried about that. And leg spike. And as I see Composer getting through the gate, I decide that it's not really worth trying to do anything, so I just emote. I let him go.